Chapter 9 in the book, Dick, talks about what I think was in my mind, your most heroic action in both the book and Band of Brothers. I think you should have gotten the Medal of Honor for the operation at the dike. I mean, I can't personally envision standing on top of an earthen dike and looking down on 100 SS troops, whether they were looking at me or not. They're down there, and you put your weapon at your hip and start firing, and they're firing back at you and scattering and running. You dump the first clip and put another one in. You dump the second clip, put another one in. What were you thinking? Because I have to be honest, I would have been going the other way behind that dirt bank. Now that's the difference in training, that's the difference in men, but clearly you were totally exposed to that enemy fire.
I want to point out that the guy that was standing up there on the dike that day at that particular moment is not the guy that you're talking to today. And it was in a mental state. I don't know how to explain it, but I've never was there before, never been that condition since. But at that point, when I started that charge across the field, let me back off here for a minute. There's one thing here. If you remember when we went in to take care of the troops on Normandy, and we made a flanking attack. We were taking them on one at a time. And in this case, in the charge, we were making a frontal attack. There's quite a difference here. And there was no other way to do it. There was no hedgerows like we had in Normandy and so forth. You had to make a frontal attack. It was the only approach to it. But in making that decision, when I started out to run across there, I was running faster than I ever ran before in my life. I've never run that fast since. And the thing about it was everybody else was moving so slow. I couldn't understand it. My men were moving so slow, I couldn't understand it. I got up there and jumped up on the dike, as you're relating here. And as I look at the Germans down there and see in the position I'm in, I'm behind them, very luckily, just luck. But they're moving so slow. See, it's not only my men that are moving so slow, but the Germans are moving so slow. And I can't understand why they're moving so slow. I'm normal, but they're not. So in standing there, I'm in a different state of mind than I've ever been in before. Hope I never get there again. But I was that pumped up, that, I don't know how else to explain it. But as that pumped up, that they were moving slow and I was normal, and my men are very slow and getting up to me because, Lord dear, they're 100 yards behind. So that, hope that explains it in some sense.
It does. Were you cognizant of the fact that you were changing, cartridges? I mean, because it almost sounded in the book that it was just automatic.
It was automatic.
You were shooting, putting another one in, putting another one in.
It was automatic. There's one little memory. It's a memory worth sharing with you. And jumping up on the dike, as the picture points out, there's this young soldier right across the road from me. Actually, he was not out in the field like we show in the film. He was directly on the other side of that road, about 2 steps away, because it was just a narrow dirt road coming up from the river. And he was the outlook. He was their outpost. He was the guy who was supposed to be keeping his head up and keeping observation that somebody didn't pull a trick on him like we had just done. Somebody to come up and catch them while they're keeping their heads down from our covering fire. That was his job, to keep them informed. He didn't do it. He put his head down as well. And I came up directly across from him, eyeball to eyeball. And he was just as shocked as could be. I leveled off at him. And the thing that remembers, I can never forget, was he smiled. And as he smiled, I shot him.